Oh, it's Justice League stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha.
Wait,
well,
that movie came out like 4 years ago.
I suppose we could
And
start
it's still
talking
being watched. No.
about our Zack Snyder's Justice League review. It's our main topic tonight.
League.
This film has been basically 4 years in the making, but not really. I mean, it was 3 years of not making it, and then 1 year of... Well, 2 years...
3 years of making it, 2 years of not making it,
Yeah.
and then another year of making it.
So we're going to jump right in here
Give or take
to
6.
part 1. Just like in Justice League, we have sections. No spoilers.
No spoilers.
This is going to be our spoiler section.
I could do a fun dance there when the black screen was up. Nobody saw it.
You could have.
No, I did.
Oh.
I saw it.
I
did the
didn't,
treacherous dance.
but I was looking over there, so I did not see it. General thoughts. What are you guys' kind of general spoiler-free impressions?
I wrote an impression tweet,
Yes.
but I didn't tweet it because I was saving it for here.
Oh, you should tweet it after this.
Maybe.
Tweet it right now, right before you say it.
I'll do it.
He's calling the police.
Oh, no.
I gotta go.
No, so I wrote down here, a welcome return to the Snyderverse. Zack Snyder's Justice League rights a lot of the wrongs from the theatrical version. A much more coherent story leads to an overall better experience, even with odd pacing and at the beginning and some interesting story beats. And by interesting, I mean weird.
Nice. I think Luke.
I'll go.
Yep.
Overall, it's an improved version of the theatrical version, but to me, it's still just an okay version. I still think there's a Justice League out there that lives up to how iconic these characters are.
But it's not this film.
But it's not this one.
Can be.
It is better, though.
Yeah. My kind of general thoughts is that I would say it's an improvement on the theatrical cut in every way, but it doesn't fix the main problem with the theatrical cut, which is the plot.
Yes, I agree with that.
And the problem is that the plot was just so big, and while everything gets expanded in this, it's not as nonsensical as something like Batman v Superman, but it's still just kind of the same. I don't know. I don't think that it just still misses the mark for me.
Mm-hmm.
That all said, I still really did enjoy this a lot more. It's way better than the theatrical cut, and I had a very good time watching it.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And I kind of alluded to it earlier. It is the same movie,
yeah,
but there is a lot more there.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's interesting how people will interpret it, because I know some people are like, it's totally different movie. Like, yeah, I guess, because there's 2 extra hours of stuff, but all the plot beats are
essentially the same.
Yeah.
I would say there's more, for lack of a better term, like connective tissue to a wider plan in this. I mean, I think that's pretty well advertised, but ultimately, our heroes are fighting the same bad guy, and ultimately, our heroes end up in the same place.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's an expanded version of the same movie.
Yep.
And I think the marketing kind of did a disservice to the movie. They showed Darkseid way too much.
Well, they showed everything.
They showed
all of his stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe minor spoiler. If you've watched any of the marketing, you've seen pretty much all there is of Darkseid.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say that was a disappointment.
Yep.
Which we'll get to in a little bit. But fortunately, the other villain, the main villain, is fleshed out a lot more.
He was way better.
Yep.
Yeah. So
that's actually one of my pros, is that Steppenwolf's actually a decent villain.
Yeah.
His plan, I don't even really want to say his plan, just like his disposition is much better.
He has a motivation.
Right. He's not just doing things just to do things. Like, there's a reason he's there.
Yeah.
And there's a reason he's, on Earth versus any other planet.
Yeah.
I thought Steppenwolf was much better.
Real quick, I will say, like, for polish, I was very impressed. I think when I heard $70 million was spent on finishing this, I was nervous about what that would be spent on. And I think some of it was maybe misspent, particularly in the ending of the film. That said, I think other than a couple moments, and I know Luke will disagree with this a little bit, I think the film looks very, very good. I think, it's better than some theatrical releases we get in terms of polish.
I guess I'd partly agree with you, but yeah, I think I kind of just, because I feel like the stuff from the original still looked the same, which looked fine. It didn't look god awful, but it didn't look spectacular. Just like this weird middle ground. But then, like with Steppenwolf, I know some people love how Steppenwolf looks. I think his design is better. I think it looks unfinished though. Like there's a floating head there in the middle, just surrounded by bland silver. And like sometimes with the movement, I was too focused on how it looked like there's this rubber thing moving around. And like Cyborg was like that with me because it's just a face kind of floating there. Sometimes felt like it didn't quite match up with where his body was.
His eyepiece was always up a little bit or down a little bit. I did notice that with Cyborg.
Yeah.
But and then the new stuff I thought looked horrible. The actual new stuff.
The stuff that was shot in 2020.
The reshoots. Yeah.
I guess I don't. If you want to give an actual rating or just a recommendation, like a thumbs up, go watch it, thumbs down, or do you want to give your actual?
I'll give my actual rating. I guess for context, I'm pretty sure of this. I don't exactly remember. I think when the original Justice League came out, I gave it a fanboy worthy. Changed my tune on that pretty quick. I'm pretty sure it's a Matthew McConaughey. I would give this one a fanboy worthy, a low fanboy worthy. I think the people that have been championing this movie, a lot of those Snyder people, I won't say cultists because those are only the weird people. There's the people that just really wanted to see this and have been really fighting for it. They'll love it. They will absolutely love it. It's probably going to be their favorite movie. If you thought Justice League was fine or bad, or I don't know, I honestly don't know what you're going to think about this because it is the same movie.
It depends what you didn't like about the original.
Yeah. Which is like why I'm so mixed on it, because my least favorite thing about the theatrical was the plot.
Yeah. With
the 3 mother boxes and the Unity. I can't stand it. I think it's so stupid. So it drives me crazy. It really does.
Well, we can talk about that more later in the spoiler section. In chapter 3.
There's 3 chapters.
I give it a fanboy worthy. And I would say it's right smack dab in the middle of fanboy worthy, maybe a little low. I kind of agree with what Luke's saying. It's ultimately this is the same movie with a little more fluff. Some of that fluff is cool and provides some pretty cool moments, and some of it you're just kind of like, yeah. For listeners, some of it's pretty just kind of dumb. I'll talk about that later, but that's what I call the music video scenes.
Yeah, we got like 6 of them.
Yeah. No, so it's fanboy worthy. I think if you like superheroes, there's something here for you.
Yeah.
And I think it's definitely an improvement over 2017.
Yeah. I'll say it's a pretty easy fanboy worthy for me. I don't particularly know right now if it's high or low. It's just I just know it's there.
Mm-hmm.
It gets knocked for length. It's too long.
Yeah.
Way too long.
Yeah.
But that said, it did. If you remember last week, my main thing when we were talking about why I enjoyed Suicide Squad more than Justice League
It's shorter.
was the original Justice League was because the characters had better interactions. They had better chemistry. I think this goes a long way to actually rectifying some of that, especially in this second and third act, the second half. Like this was not a poorly written movie. I think it has some classic, and I don't like not to throw Chris Terrio under the bus, but I think it has some classic Chris Terrio isms in the plot that I really don't like. But like the stuff between the characters, I thought it worked.
This movie's way more lighthearted than I expected it to be.
Yeah. They traded, I think, good lightheartedness for quips.
Mm-hmm.
And that is the most bizarre thing for me.
Yeah.
But that said, I still think, I would recommend this, even if it's I recommend you watch it over a weekend in 2 settings, or heck, 3 settings. I would still recommend it, so.
Yeah, that's another thing, too. It's worth mentioning that they do the part thing, which is really nice if you want to pause it after, a couple parts.
Mm-hmm.
Go to the bathroom, grab a snack, do it all over again. It's pretty cool.
Cool. Well, let's move into spoiler territory. And here in part 2, we're going to be talking about the players. What?
Like the Players' Championship, like for golf?
Yeah, man.
Oh.
Obviously.
That this year.
A golfer, I bet.
We had so many character changes in this film. From, like you mentioned before, Steppenwolf. We have Darkseid's basically an entirely new character. We have, Wonder Woman has different points of view on bringing Superman back.
Yeah.
Batman's way more hopeful.
And much better acted.
And he showed up.
Flash and Cyborg actually have
They
personalities.
have
Well, Flash has personality. Cyborg has a story.
So, yeah, Cyborg has an arc, which is pretty good. What were some of your guys' favorite character additions or modifications or
Flash?
I
was pretty iffy on Ezra Miller as the Flash, but after this, I'm really looking forward to his movie, and I think he'll be good. He was hilarious. You getting distracted over there, Luke?
No, I'm just watching.
No. I thought his role in the whole thing, like he had way more dialogue. Just like he has more of a say in everything they do, which was cool. He's not just the kid.
Yeah.
And in the theatrical version, I felt like he was kind of just sidelined as the young guy who doesn't know what he's doing. And they kind of bring him along a little bit more in this, and it's nice.
Well, it's cool. He has things to do.
Yeah.
In the theatrical cut, his role is to save people, and I feel like whether that's in the first fight with Steppenwolf and he's saving, Bruce has this little one-on-one, which is not in this one, or if it's in the final one where it's like push the truck of the Russians away.
Yeah.
He's actually given an
important
awesome mechanic
role.
that does save the day. It's a big deal.
Yeah. No. His role in this movie just really made me smile a lot, and I can't wait to see more from him.
Yeah. Luke?
I kind of talked about it. I think the best change is with Steppenwolf. But villain motivation can really sometimes make or break a movie. If you have a villain that's just in there, it always brings it down. Because it's like, why are we fighting this dude?
Yeah.
I can honestly understand why Warner Bros. Said, make these cuts to this movie. Batman's the moneymaker.
Yeah.
So when they changed this movie from a Cyborg Flash kind of origin telling. It's not a straight origin, but you learn way more about them in this version.
It's a pretty straight origin for Cyborg, I'd say.
Yeah. But they said, no, Batman's a moneymaker. We want him to kind of be the main story. I can understand that decision. Wasn't a good decision because it really hurts the movie and it hurts both of their character arcs. Because now they actually
Our characters
have one.
Yeah.
I'm still really mixed on Wonder Woman. I didn't really like her in the first one, but then I don't like her in this one either because it's really weird. It's kind of this weird context because I've seen Wonder Woman a lot and I've seen 84 now.
We've seen,
and I feel like both movies go against her character, which is weird.
We have more cinematic Wonder Woman, this version, than any other Justice League member.
Yeah.
Right? Like, we've got basically 2 movies of Batman. We've gotten 2 movies of Superman. We've
One and a half.
Yeah. But we've gotten 2 in, like, her movie, right?
Yeah.
Like, they are her movie, and now with this one, it's kind of her third. It does feel different.
Yeah. And it's hard, though, because, like, I think about 84, but it's like, there was no plan for 84 yet when this was being made.
Right.
Like, Wonder Woman was barely being made.
Yeah.
When all of this was being written. Snyder was writing this before even BVS came out. The plan was already set. He had his Wonder Woman in mind.
Yeah.
And then so, like, in the theatrical, she's like, no, this is a horrible idea to resurrect Superman. And this one, she's like, yeah, we kind of do need Superman. And I'm like, I'm kind of against both of those. Like, because, I mean, like, with 84, she kind of goes with something similar with Steve. She has to say no to it. So then to see her in this, be like, yeah, we should probably raise this person from the dead. There would be nothing wrong with that.
No consequences.
Be like, I don't know, it kind of deals with consequences a lot, but the movie wasn't made yet, so I like all these conflicting ideas going through my head.
I will say, I really like what... There's significantly less back and forth between her and Bruce in this one, but I appreciate that they're not on opposite sides.
Yeah.
They're not so conflicted.
I'll tell you what I did hate, because it's so unearned in my opinion, is the brief second of romance they have really quick.
Oh, yeah, that was weird.
Out of nowhere, they give the hand touch and they're like...
He had to squeeze that in.
Got a meme, baby. And it was like gross. Like, what is this? It came out of nowhere. Like, it always comes down to pay it off.
Yeah.
Build it up and pay it off. We hadn't gotten any of that, and all of a sudden they're just like, oh, flirty eyes, oh, our hands touch, they're like little school kids. And it was weird. Also, I feel like her powers were super nerfed. She feels weak to me.
Well, and it's interesting because she seems to have, in the beginning of the movie, the speed of Flash.
Yeah.
And then that just never comes up again.
I even said that like at the beginning. I was like, if she moves this quick,
and that's
how
a problem.
fast does Barry move?
That's a problem in the theatrical cut as well. But it is a problem where it's her and Superman are probably, and Flash are probably all on about the same playing field.
It's just, and I feel like they did okay with it with Cyborg and Flash with how consistent their powers are. Very kind of escalates throughout the entire movie.
Yeah.
Cyborg, he's just kind of as powerful as he is the whole time. I mean,
he's just
a shape-shifting robot.
Yeah.
But then, like, I feel like Superman's powers and Wonder Woman's powers and Batman's just brain are all over the place, I feel like.
Yeah.
There's just some weird inconsistencies.
Batman in general is kind of a weird...
Yeah.
Like, and I'm not talking Bruce. I'm talking just him as Batman. Like, the first fight with Steppenwolf, he's, like, getting the crap kicked out of him. And then the next time he fights, he's, like, unstoppable. Then he starts just using their weapons. I'm like, what is happening?
And then he disappears once Superman shows up, which was also in the theatrical.
Yeah, that was still
Well, he's got to hide. He didn't go hide.
Yeah.
He's got it. He's creating a little bat cave.
He was out on the edges killing the ads as everybody else was dunking orbs.
Yep. He was dealing with ads.
I do think we should probably talk about Cyborg a little bit more and just kind of what his story is. because he's kind of, as Zack Snyder has called him, the heart of his movie. I don't know if I agree with that, but he does have a much better arc. Kind of the daddy issue, where do I fit in the world arc that we see so much of today. Did you guys like it?
I thought it was fine.
Yeah, I don't think it's poorly written or anything. I think the performance is fine. I don't think there was a lot there from a direction standpoint.
I think that it suffers the same problem that Man of Steel does, which is we have a character who is very uncertain and not very emotional about it.
They hit the mood button.
Mm-hmm.
And so it just ends up being kind of glum and gloomy. And that is fine. That is a real emotion, but I don't know if it plays real well, especially when we're now 4 movies in, or 3 movies? I can't even keep track of how many movies are in this.
Let's just ignore Suicide Squad.
Oh yeah, no. I do mean in Snyder's movies. The third movie, I would say it's maybe part performance, and part of that is hindered by the fact that he's 85% a robot and CGI, and he just doesn't have as much to emote with. But also, Ray's a young actor, and
there's moments where Ray's really good.
Yeah.
Like the scene with Silas. We're in spoilers. With Silas dying, I think Ray's great. I think that's the strongest scene for him in the movie.
Yeah.
I think it's the strongest scene for him too, but I think his death was dumb.
I don't mind his death, and actually, I would agree that I think that it's weird because I think it's probably his best acting, one of his better acting moments, but I don't think that moment's quite earned yet,
right,
in his story.
Yeah, the whole thing with his dad is like they go from "I hate you" to like there's no mend moment where they start to mend their relationship. There's just never that.
Yeah,
it's really, he's like, well, you're my dad.
Yeah,
it's really quick.
It's a nod,
and then he dies.
Yeah, it's just
there needs to be one more conversation in there,
which stinks because the movie's already 4 hours and 2 minutes long.
Yeah,
like how much more can you add before it's just too much? And it already is. Like,
yeah, I'm wondering if maybe
take out the Aquaman Tabernacle Choir, man. Don't need that.
Yeah, I don't know.
Could have put in something for character depth.
I did also really enjoy Cyborg's how they demonstrate him using his powers, like not his body modifications.
You mean like in the...
But when he goes digitally into, and it's just kind of this like, I don't know,
it's like
desert planet.
It's like this reality.
Yeah, it's this alternate reality, and then he just manifests things, and he can control things.
Yeah, that was kind of cool.
Yeah,
like the money stuff.
I thought
that was really cool.
That was a good section, and I get why, if you had the mandate to cut 2 hours, why it would be cut, but it adds a lot to his character knowing what he's capable of doing and how he wraps his mind around helping people.
Yeah, and I do like the voiceover in that scene with Silas telling him like, look, it's not going to be a can I, it's should I. And that's kind of an interesting dilemma for a superhero.
Silas
is great in this.
Most of the supporting actors really do get elevated performances, and by that, elevate the movie. I think Silas, I think Alfred.
What about Mara?
Not Mara.
Yeah, no.
Sorry. What about Mara?
Yeah,
she's
Amber
British
Heard's
now.
Weird British accent.
Yeah, we can talk about bad stuff now.
Glad we dropped that from the theatrical.
She was awful.
Yeah, she's bad in this.
She didn't really get...
I'm expecting that recast in about 3 weeks.
Yeah, for sure.
When does Aquaman start filming? It's gotta be soon.
I feel like it is relatively soon.
It's coming out in 2 years, so they gotta do,
They got a lot of work to do.
18 months worth of VFX.
Yeah. They're already building
At least they got the
sets.
Rigs built already, though, for their swimming.
Pull them out of their shipping containers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fill the pool, baby. Let's go.
Yeah, Mira, not good.
Man, and I thought she was bad, like, in the stuff we already had seen with her. She's horrible in the reshoots.
Yeah, the reshoot stuff. The reshoot stuff is so evident, too.
Yeah.
That annoys me.
I liked the idea of Mara, like when she starts to just rip the water out of Steppenwolf. Great idea.
Yeah.
Well, she's going, hey, buddy, I am ripping the water out of you. And your blood, eh?
Yeah, the British accent stuff's weird. Not a big fan of Mara. Who else was I gonna mention?
Volko?
Volko's whatever.
He's a one-off. Like he's in 2 scenes, but he's basically just a
That was gonna
cameo.
be. This guy's gonna show up in the next movie.
Yeah.
And he needs a haircut.
Martian Manhunter?
You mean Martha Manhunter?
Martha Shapeshifter? That's another one of those story beats that, like, that scene between Martha and Lois is so good, and then it just gets sucked away because it's
Question.
I think it would have been better if they'd have just done the Manhunter scene at the end. You don't need
that too.
Yeah.
I have a question. Do you think that was supposed to be Martha? Actually.
Originally?
Yeah. And he changed it.
I mean, the storyboard for that came out years ago.
Yeah, I don't think so.
I think that was his plan. However,
I mean, he could
maybe not. Because I know that the post-credit stuff with, well, not post-credit, but the epilogue stuff with Manhunter was supposed to be Green Lantern.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So that could lend to that idea.
Mm-hmm.
That maybe he wasn't planning on doing that.
Just a question. I was curious. I have no idea.
Yeah.
I think if you want to squeeze Manhunter in, I think it's better to just do it at the epilogue, not that scene.
Agreed.
I think you let that scene be Martha and Lois.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Martha going to New York or Metropolis. Excuse me. Always sat weird with me. I think it makes more sense knowing that it's Manhunter.
Mm-hmm.
Like that he was just like, I'm gonna like fly on over here and try and get Lois back in the right headspace. Like I get that more than I just needed to get away from my farm that I don't no longer have and needed.
Here's my question.
Because I always thought in the original, in the theatrical cut, I keep going. In the theatrical cut, I thought she was moving to Metropolis. And I'm like, what is she? Martha if she can't afford a farm in Kansas, she can't afford an apartment in Metropolis.
A high-rise in Metropolis? Yeah.
She's moving in with Lois.
Here's my
They're
question.
sharing rent.
This is the thing I wrestled with, and it really didn't hit me till I watched it the second time. Why is Lois in this movie?
Because she loves Superman.
It's
They're
a
gonna
good
have
question.
a baby.
Yeah. Other than Superman coming back to life and them having
the key.
their cornfield scene, she is not needed.
No.
By the way, you smell nice. I thought that was just in the theatrical, and it was still there, and I was like, okay.
I just don't like. Look, Amy Adams is great. I don't need more Lois.
Agreed.
I thought
weird.
what she was given, she did fine with.
She did fine with each scene, yes.
Yeah.
You don't need it.
She's such a integral part of what Snyder wanted to do down the road that I think she did need to be in this. Well,
yes,
it's not happening
I get
now.
What you're saying. I get
so
what you're saying.
It doesn't make as much sense to us now, being like, well, she doesn't really serve a purpose.
Mm-hmm.
Lois Lane syndrome.
Yeah,
Lois's role in this entire universe is to literally die.
Yeah,
is what it was leading up to.
I did like her character shift from even the beginning of the movie. Like, again, I think there's good nuggets there, especially when you dive into psychology and like what people are thinking and how people grieve. Like her trip to the memorial every day while she essentially was just locked in her apartment, depressed,
she's quarantined.
And then the change, yeah. She was quarantined. And then the change she has where she goes to it that one last time. And so and then it makes sense why she's nearby when the whole rebirth happens. Like, I don't mind that. I just wish that the choice of her moving on was more hers and not just this little like poke in the side by Martian Manhunter,
or a plot device to
Yeah.
make sure she's where she needs to be
Yeah.
at the right time. Yeah.
yeah.
I don't know. That's like a chunk of the movie you could take out, and I don't think it's much different.
Yeah. Well, speaking of chunks of the movie, let's move on to part 3, which is more scenes, same story. Luke, you talked a little bit about how one of your big frustrations is the plot.
Yep.
And it was originally, and it is still now, because in reality, the plot's still the same. We get more.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. We just know more about motivations.
You want to talk to that anymore? You said your piece.
I kind of said most of it. I just don't understand the choice of creating the Unity, except for, we talked about this, it's a Death Star.
Yeah.
It's something that can annihilate a world, and it's something that's like, oh, we gotta stop it. And that's it. Like, if somebody can please clue me in on if there's a Unity in this big freaking book that I've got, that I haven't read through it all because it'll take me 200 years. Please let me know. I have looked through that, I've read some of it, and I have done so much Googling to see if this is just something made up.
Mm-hmm.
And as far as I know, it's something made up. And I feel like there's something in there that you could grab.
Or there's something in there where they got that inspiration from, or something. Yeah.
Like, that is really one of the irritating parts for me, because I feel like in Darkseid being the villain and Steppenwolf being the villain, like, I kind of talked about it earlier too, paying it off. They're just bad guys.
Yeah.
Oh, we need the anti-life equation. Okay. We don't know what that is. That is like an entire thing within the Fourth World with what Darkseid is wanting to do with New Genesis and all the Forever people and Apocalypse. Like, it's not just like, I want to rule the world.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, that's part of it, but like, why?
I think this, and coulda, woulda, shoulda. Hindsight's 2020. We've talked about that last week when we were rewriting Batman v Superman. But like, I think you could have had this movie open with Martian Manhunter visiting Bruce Wayne and being like, Darkseid's coming, he's looking for the anti-life equation. And that being the main motivation. Steppenwolf's still the little Trojan horse who goes in, well, less of a Trojan horse, boom tube horse.
Boom!
Who's coming to set the scene.
And I'm fine with that. Steppenwolf. Darkseid always sends minions before he does it. I'm perfectly fine with that. And I agree with you. I think that'd be good. They need to destroy Earth because the anti-life equation is there. That seemed to be kind of what the focus kind of was at the end too.
Mm-hmm.
But how in the world did they forget about Earth?
Oh yeah.
You lost there.
That's
you got chopped in half
too.
there, and you can't remember where this place was. This is the stupidest thing in the entire movie. I couldn't believe it.
Not only that, they have technology that can literally create life.
Yeah,
but they can't remember how to find their way back to a planet.
Someone forgot to put the little pin in the map.
The only planet that pushed him back, and he can't remember it. You'd think he'd be training his whole life to come back and kill those people.
These are the Chris Terrio-isms that I were referring to earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Not every plot hole, but some of those, like,
we have to
have a big bad, and he has to have a motivation for later down the line, so here's what we're gonna do.
Yeah, that's a big one.
For just to get us there.
I thought about that too.
That drove that baseball moment.
I think it would be way more dangerous, feel like the need for Bruce to put together a team if Darkseid knew where it was and he was just sending Steppenwolf to essentially be the scout.
Yep.
That's like, that ups the ante so quickly.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and really makes it a big deal of getting everyone together.
Rather than the unity thing.
Yeah.
And then the other part with that is, I'm curious what you guys think about the flashback, because honestly, it's extended. I didn't think it was any better. There's really wonky CG with David Thewlis's face.
Mm-hmm.
So true.
For the most part, it really is the same, I feel like, except they replaced Darkseid in there instead of Steppenwolf.
Mm-hmm.
And he gets wrecked in like 2 minutes. It's like, this is the dude who's destroyed 100,000 worlds. He got hit by Ares once and he's gonzo. Like,
Yeah.
It's weird.
I
I don't know that it's worse, but it's not better.
Yeah.
I think like most of the action scenes are all better because they are extended,
A little more earned.
yeah. But this one I felt like honestly could have just been the same.
Well, and like what I view that scene as, I agree with you. That scene I viewed as like, this is your moment to see who Darkseid is.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
yeah.
why should we be afraid of this guy? And this
I'm
is your
not.
moment. And like, I know it. I know you were sitting there and you were thinking, oh, he's about to wreck all these people. And he gets hit once and goes in his ship and cries and bleeds everywhere.
Would have
You're
been
okay.
a great opportunity to unleash Omega Beams.
Yep.
They do it really quick, and you can kind of see it in the trailer that was playing while we were talking earlier. He does
I can play
it
that again.
in a
In Atlantis.
flash forward sequence.
Which is...
And it's his Omega Beams are so cool. And they're very complicated, and I don't really want to explain them. They can pretty much do anything.
Yeah.
You can control them on Injustice 2 as well.
They're insane.
That's awesome.
Like when you shoot them out, you can use the stick to
Oh
make
my
them go wherever
gosh.
you want.
For context, Batman gets hit by him. He doesn't explode. He gets sent to a different timeline.
Oh.
So you can do that with him if you want.
Convenient.
Or you can just zap people with them. Like,
And turn them to ash.
so like Superman's lasers are pretty intense. Imagine that like times 10,000. Those things hurt. They can do a lot. They're really cool. You could have unleashed them there, or honestly, this is what I would have done. I would have, even though the ending is really cool, when she chops off his head, it's really cool. I liked it. Don't do that. Have him go through conversation where he can be like, "We'll be back for you, Superman," and then he can like laser Steppenwolf himself because he failed.
Yeah.
I think that would have been cool.
Yeah.
That'd have been neat.
That would have been.
You talked about the flash forward.
I did.
That's,
I mentioned a lot there.
that flash forward is the only nightmare scene we needed.
Yeah.
Yes.
Agreed.
Although,
Because it was good.
guess who died in the flash forward? Wonder Woman.
Yep.
My prediction.
I think that is the nightmare scene we needed, not the one we got at the end.
Yes.
And
I
we're talking
completely
about
agree.
story right now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That nightmare scene sucked.
It was horrible.
It's shot poorly.
It reminded me why I can't stand Jared Leto as a
Here,
Joker.
we can just look. Go watch this.
Oh, it's
Or
got its own section.
The Nightmare.
Yeah.
If I just keep this title card up, will Luke just keep dancing?
Yeah, probably. Yeah, the nightmare.
I'm glad you're in that because I was holding my breath too.
Yeah. Well,
The
you're welcome.
nightmare scene is very clearly shot after the fact. He stated he wanted to get Joker and Batman on screen together.
I can respect that.
Yeah, no, that's fair. You know, fair thing to want.
I can respect wanting to do it.
I can respect wanting to do it. What I can't respect is not controlling the urge to say I won't do it.
How do you feel about Batman and Joker banging it out in the future?
Nope, not here for that.
Okay, just curious.
It fits Snyder's verse, though. I mean, that's the problem. Is that he's all about what if Batman was just in the worst possible timeline and did all the terrible things. And again, you can have a dark Batman without having
Joel
comments
McHale
about
shouldn't have gotten that pizza, man.
about reach arounds.
Yeah, like,
You don't have the cojones.
I'll say one thing I did like about their interaction was just that he kind of teased him about Robin.
Yeah,
And I think
That was your prediction?
it was.
it was.
But that's not why I liked it. I actually like it because there's that little section. He knows about loved ones dying in his arms, right? Like his parents. And then he reveals that he knows them, and I'm like, okay, this is like, we've all always assumed he knows who Batman is, but to actually explicitly say it, I think is a cool idea and presents itself the opportunity for cool storytelling. And then talking about Robin, obviously, that excites me, even though I don't think it was Jason. I think it was Dick in Snyder's universe. Other than that,
Jared Leto is the Joker version of Jason Todd, still unconfirmed.
Yeah. He'll reveal it in a storyboard in 3 years, and we'll get another movie. I don't want that to happen, but I said it out loud. It makes me nervous.
You've jinxed us.
I did not like that scene though. They very clearly could not get Ezra Miller, so they CG'd his weird mustache face on somebody else.
I think it was just they reused
the shot
footage from Batman v Superman and just reversed it. Because in Batman v Superman, it's the Thing opening.
Yeah.
And in this one, it's the Thing closing, and he's in kind of the same stance.
I do like his armor, though.
Oh, the suit's cool.
The armor's
for
pretty
sure.
neat. But yeah, no, the nightmare scene kind of sucks. I feel bad for Joe Manganiello.
Yeah, I was expecting with all the, like, I mean, it's cool to be in any movie, let alone a Justice League movie. So I can get, like, the self, like, he, like, felt like hyping himself up about it, or, you know, whatever. Like, I would absolutely be over the moon to be in his shoes in that position. But I was expecting more, like, some kind of action or some kind of back and forth. Like, he just got one line.
I wanted him to fight.
Yeah.
That's what I wanted. I wanted it to be Deathstroke versus Batman. Give us a tease of what is rumored and just move on.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I see Lepke said, I saw so many people saying the nightmare scene was the best DC material ever put on screen, and that Leto's Joker is the best ever.
They just want the Ayer cut. That's all they want. They're lying.
Dude, it's.
And
then he went on to say not a fan personally, which I don't think any of us were a fan of.
I don't think any of us are.
Thing.
But if you are a fan, and like, no hate, like that's
not at all.
fine. I want to know why. So let us know. You can write in the comments. Tweet at us.
I would like to hear.
I'm really curious why that is your favorite.
Like,
why that works for you. Yeah.
Because I just do.
Because I don't get it.
Other than the Robin stuff. And him knowing who Batman is. That's the only two things that were interesting about that scene to me.
They just...
me, the Robin thing was just... It's just kind of like, I killed Robin. Well, Harley Quinn is dead.
So Batman's retort was stupid. I agree. But him saying, like, actively saying that in a live-action movie to me is just cool. And mostly that comes because I like Red Hood.
Yeah.
I think that movie's great.
For me... knowing, who knows what the future holds. We don't think there is going to be a Justice League 2 or anything else Snyder does kind of in this universe.
There's your news story.
There's kind of a news story that we'll talk about after we get it all done. But this particular scene adds nothing to this particular movie. It adds a little bit to the lore, like you were talking about with Batman and the Joker, or specifically Batman's history, because we have Deathstroke there, and Mira's mad, and Flash is standing there. But it doesn't.
He looked cool though.
It doesn't do anything at this time that we know of for even the like future of the universe. So why is it there?
Yeah,
it makes sense to be on a DVD as a bonus scene type of thing. I don't think it or heck, I would even I'm going to retract that statement. I don't want it as like an end credit scene. Like I think it should be completely detached from the movie as a
hey, this was some stuff we shot and we didn't use it
thing. Like hey, like this is like a hint at where we were going. But yeah, that leading into him waking up and seeing, or Bruce Wayne waking up, who's clearly 6 years older and
skinny,
100 pounds lighter because he's not been
it looks
doing CrossFit.
Yeah, and when he wakes up and like stands up and walks out, he's like scrawny, like It just is weird.
I mean, I don't...
And good for him.
Yeah.
This isn't like a knock on his body image. That's not what I'm going for. But like, Batman's like a beefcake the whole movie, and then at the end he's like,
it's just a weird like 1-2 like, oh, this was obviously shot post.
Right. And I kind of mentioned that earlier. Like, it's weird how evident those reshoots are.
Yeah.
And they weren't filmed next to each other like the Leto and Batman stuff. They're just talking to nobody.
Oh yeah,
which
and
I
you
think
can
hurts
tell
it too.
they don't feel like they're in the same space.
I don't really know how to react to what you just said.
Yeah. I did like in the epilogue, though. I'm trying to say some positive things too, because we started kind of harping on it pretty hard. I do like in the epilogue. There's a couple things. I like the cyborg finally listening to his dad's clip, because I think that's something that was needed. I think it would have been better if the payoff was a little bit better. Payoff, but no, I thought that was cool. Also, him putting it back together kind of shows that the mother box technology truly is him. That he is a mother box, which is the most recent iterations of him. That seems to be the direction everything goes. I thought that was cool. I really liked that whole bit. I actually enjoyed the Martian Manhunter scene with Ben. I just think it's cool to see more characters.
Sure. You know? No, I absolutely get that. That like seeing characters who you've read in comics just be on the screen. And like, going forward, I think it would have been cool. But again, I think
it would have been Green Lantern.
I'm going to circle back to my point of like, what did it do for this story? Nothing. And in fact, it makes me think worse of him throughout the entire series, knowing that
not being there. Yeah,
he was just sitting on his
hands,
just
chilling. Yeah.
You're just like, nah, they got this.
We're gonna nuke Doomsday and Superman. No, we shouldn't. We're gonna do it. Okay.
So
I like the idea of it.
He stands up for Superman in the nuke scene. He says 2 casualties, and then he says Superman, and then the president says do it.
Yeah, and then he's
and he wasn't like,
okay.
Actually, hold on.
It's really quick.
I'm an alien, and I'm telling you no. Trust me.
Well, bombs have fire, man.
Martian Manhunter's weakness is fire.
You can't go up there and stop that thing.
No, but he can be like, I know more than you. I'm an alien.
But then he gives up. We just had a... Never mind. Different argument. Okay. I thought it was cool.
I like the idea of it. It looked so bad to me, and I really don't like his design.
I think part of that, too, is like they didn't get to do any mocap work. So it's just straight CG, which never looks good in a live-action movie.
Yeah. Podcat's agreeing. Podcat says...
His design is weird, though. It could be better.
He's like weird, like fin... Looks like fins are ripped out of his arms.
It looks like he has gills on the side of his head, too, which is
some strange. Iterations he has, like, indentions. I don't know if they're gills, but...
They look like gills.
To me, it looks like he's supposed to have fins, but somebody ripped them off.
Ew.
That's...
I have to look that up again.
That's how it kind of looks to me.
I don't think he looked as bad as Luke does, but it's not my favorite look. That's okay.
It's fine.
I wish they would have ended it right after Superman.
Yep.
Does the classic
the
trench coat pole.
Should have been blue though.
I would say, what do you think about
absolutely should have been red, blue, and yellow.
Yeah, agreed.
The entire movie. I know that lots of people loved the black and silver.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's whatever. He hasn't even been a hopeful red and blue Superman yet. And there's no story context for it being black and silver except for what about this one?
It's the one I chose for the day.
Yeah. And then the part that irritates me is in the Nightmare, it's red and blue again.
Blue.
He's been evil in red and blue more than he's been good.
Yeah, that bothers me a little bit too. That bothers me as well. What do you guys think about the R rating?
Unearned. Mainly, well, it earns it with what they're going for, but CGI blood is pretty miss for me, I'll say. I'll just say miss. I never really like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know that.
And it didn't really look that good. There's 3 F words.
Yeah.
Okay.
Did we need those? No. In fact, one of them we talked about, we just cut from the thing entirely.
Yeah.
It's crazy that
I'm kind of there
that's
too.
what he looks like on the Supergirl show.
I think this would have been fine as a PG-13.
Yeah, for sure. Sorry, I didn't mean to.
And I'm sure had this been a theatrical release, it would have been mandated that it would be PG-13.
It also would have been
3 hours.
3:15, I bet.
Yeah.
Easily 3:15.
Just turn down to slow motion and it's 3:15.
Yeah.
I guess I didn't see any reason why they needed to use the language they did. I don't think it elevated. There are some cases in some movies, say Deadpool, for example, where like that movie would fundamentally not be the same if it wasn't rated R.
F words are funny.
Right. And F words could not really be funny in this movie.
Food. French.
Yeah.
Feng shui.
Lucky said, or Game Lord Master in the chat says, "You mean it wasn't earned by Batman saying the F word?"
I will kill you.
Whoa.
I mean, you use the F word. I know you're serious now.
So yeah,
You're good.
It'll be interesting if this does go to a IMAX theatrical run in some form. If
I can see them doing
way.
a Saturday night special, one night only. Watch Justice League, Zack Snyder's Justice League in theater in IMAX.
Yeah,
I'll go see it.
I will too. I would pay to see that.
Mainly because the 4:3 ratio won't bother me as much.
Yeah, that was the other thing. Did you guys get used to the 4:3?
Every time I got used to it, there was a cut or something, and then it would jar me again, and I'd be like, why?
Mm-hmm. We should have filmed this episode in 4:3.
No,
My bad.
There's
veto.
I tried to get meta. I didn't get meta enough.
Yeah,
you need a 120 to be meta.
I just want to. I think we're starting to land this thing a little bit, right?
Yeah.
I just want to quickly go through my pros and cons just as I wrote them down.
Yeah, do it.
I wrote that the cast is good. I think Snyder's biggest strength in all of this that I've seen is that he casts well.
Yeah.
He chooses good people for what he writes or what he envisions, and I think that's awesome. Steppenwolf is actually a decent villain. Talked about that. Flash and Cyborg have better stories. And then as my last pro, I wrote parts 3 through 7.
Yeah.
Parts 1 and 2 are not fun to watch. They're pretty painful.
It's interesting. I don't mind it, but it is parts 1 and 2 are primarily just extensions of what we've already seen.
And so I texted you guys Saturday when I was watching it again, and because it was after the Aquaman Tabernacle Choir scene, and I was like, these scenes are there, like that scene like that, right? Like these scenes are there to prop these characters up as gods. Mm-hmm. That's why they happen. That's their only purpose. As if we don't recognize that they're superheroes in this universe. Like we don't need it. Like that's
that was what the entire last movie was about.
Right.
Was about recognizing the difference between a Superman, a god, and Lex Luthor, a man. Mm-hmm. And overcoming that. Yeah. So I think we've moved past that. We've identified that. Now we can just focus on meeting our friends.
Right.
Or enemies.
Right. So yeah.
Yes.
Sure. So yeah, those scenes can be cut down. Cons though, I have the score. I don't think it's good.
It's bad.
Yeah, it's...
I'll go beyond that. It's not good. I'll say it's bad.
Yeah, it's not...
I feel like
There's moments.
There are moments here and there. And even so this isn't the score, but the song choices that are very specifically song... Okay, go ahead.
I'm getting to that.
Go for it, man.
The music video scenes. That's what you're talking about, right?
Yes.
Like the weird musical cues or like... when they get in the Mercedes and the rap music starts playing and you're just like, what movie am I watching? Like, this feels like a Fast and Furious scene.
Shout out to Aquaman, who throws all of his clothes and empty liquor bottles into the ocean.
In his music video scene.
Yep.
What a weird song, too.
There's a lot of that.
Wasn't there a Beastie Boys song at one point?
There was. Maybe it's an homage to his music video start for Snyder that he was like, hey, I can do these things, and puts them in his movie. Whatever. This was his chance to do whatever he wanted. He very clearly did that. And then pacing's in parts 1 and 2. And like you had kind of elaborated on, it's just extensions of stuff we had already seen, so it just kind of slows the movie down.
Yeah, we don't see Flash till like an hour into
Part
the
3?
movie. Yeah, part 3. And Cyborg, I think, gets maybe a couple scenes, brief scenes in 1 and 2.
So like, he's the heart of my movie, and he's in it for like a minute and a half. Like an hour and 30 minutes in.
Yeah.
You're like, what? He's the heart? Like, usually the heart of your movie is in like your opening scenes.
Yeah. Yeah, it would be very...
I think from the moment you get your Flash introduction forward, it's a good movie.
I would agree. That's if I go back and I'm like, I don't know if I really want to watch 4 hours of this, I'll start it at chapter 3.
Mm-hmm. Started with that Central City sign popped up. And you're like, oh, okay, cool, I like this part.
Yep.
I think I just start when on the roof scene where they meet Gordon.
I think that's part 5.
I think it's like the 2-hour mark.
Yeah, it is.
I just start halfway through. I don't need all the intro stuff. I know who the characters are, and the first 2 hours to me were just so boring because it's people walking around in slow-mo, doing nothing. Like, all the lowest stuff is in slow-mo. Just walking in the rain.
Dude, yeah. So let's talk about the slow-mo in this movie because there is an exuberant amount of it.
Good word. Good job.
Thank you. My big word for the day.
You earned it.
Yes. Do I get a piece
No.
of cake or something?
No.
A
Pat on the back.
You get
Oh,
nothing.
all right. I'll take that.
Nothing
Thanks,
from
man.
me.
Wow. See if you're invited back next to it. Oh, thanks, man.
I did not approve of that.
I did.
Okay.
Are we... I don't even know where I'm going anymore. Slow motion.
Mm-hmm.
Is this like the J.J. lens flares? Just...
Snyder likes lens flare too, though.
He does. Let's be honest.
They're probably like, you know, that TikTok trend where they do the hand thing? That's a JJ and Zack Snyder agreeing on lens flare. No, the slow-mo in this is weird. Some of it's cool. Some of it you're just like, why?
Yeah.
Why here?
I feel like we talked about while we were watching the movie, because we did watch it all together.
Yep.
Also, I think that, real quick, I think that made it better that we watched it.
That we watched it together. It was
time.
fun. It did kind of have that more theater-like experience where it was like we could kind of look over and like nudge each other. Like,
We were kind of making fun of it every once in a while, too.
Oh,
When something
yeah.
was dumb, we'd make fun of it. When it was cool, we'd be like, oh, that was cool.
Yep.
But we
Exactly
mentioned
like
how when everything's in slow-mo, your Flash character, nothing's very special when he does anything in slow-mo.
Mm-hmm.
Because when
Like brush the hair
50%
of
of
somebody
the...
he just fought first. Man.
That was a little inappropriate.
Just getting handsy.
Barry. Oh no.
Yeah, anytime Flash moves in full speed, though.
The best Flash
sick.
scene is when he saves the people before the tunnel fight.
When he's up and down the stairs.
Yes.
No,
That was great.
when the rocks fall and he just goes and he's like punching them
Oh,
away.
yeah.
I thought that was awesome. I think like going speed of light and reversing time is cool too, but I've seen that in other things. This like was it was cool visually and
Oh, dude,
it was new, so I liked it.
the reversing time thing with the mother box to reanimate Superman was cool.
Mm-hmm.
How he's like running, it's just like, you're like, uh-oh. Oh, no, he messed up. Because I remember like that happens, and Brett and I were like, what? They're doing it here? This is the moment? And then it goes back down. It's like, oh, okay, never mind.
It was a nice little precursor to set up for the final act. Real quick, can we talk about the final fight? One last thing. I mean, I could one last thing this to
Yeah, there's only
to the
4
end
hours
of time.
worth of content to one last thing. This. We
But
didn't even
this-
talk about the NASCAR scene.
Yeah. Yeah.
That scene is 6.5 minutes.
Gotta get all those credits in there.
Yeah, I kind of made that joke when we were watching it.
What is
I didn't realize how true it was.
Yeah.
What would you rather have though, the NASCAR stuff or the for Wonder Woman every time she's on the screen?
The NASCAR
The NASCAR stuff because it's done
only
after
once,
the
yeah.
first 5
Yes.
minutes, 6 minutes.
I concur.
Yeah. So real quick, yeah, that was very annoying, Luke. When to go back and talk about the score just a little bit. Like,
I remember I said no to that the first time we
time.
played it.
Like, why are you rewriting Wonder Woman's theme and making it a stinger that just plays anytime she's on screen?
So what I thought was maybe they weren't allowed to use it.
Oh, no, they...
And then they used it, and I was like, well, that theory went out the window.
Yeah, doesn't make much sense to me, but...
Yeah.
Whatever. So the final fight, I think it's way better than the theatrical version.
Way better.
We get the heroes actually using their powers
Together? Yeah.
in really unique ways. I think, Luke, you kind of mentioned, or one of you mentioned earlier, Batman kind of disappears for a while.
But in this one, one of the reasons I like it better is in the theatrical, it's Batman assembles his team and he's like, I'm going to do this on my own. And he flies in and they're also like, well, I guess we'll just go help him. Yeah. And this one, they actually follow their plan.
Yeah.
Which is, hey, I'm going to destroy the shield, we're going to kill everybody, and we're going to chop off Steppenwolf's face. Hopefully Superman shows up.
Yeah.
He does.
And when Batman disappears, Batman is trying to keep people off of Barry.
Yeah, there was a point.
Which is important.
There was a point to it.
Yep.
They were still helping each other.
Because my dog Barry's running in circles trying to go fast.
Yeah.
He's like, I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm going to run fast. And that creates a cool visual.
It does.
With the blue light just kind of wrapping around. I do wish it was yellow.
Yeah.
But
I'm with you.
It's pretty cool.
The color palette also way improved over that horrendous red tint.
Yeah.
That was in the theatrical. Ugh.
Man, it's like sepia.
Yeah. How do we feel about how violent Superman is towards Steppenwolf?
It's like his moment to finally unleash a little bit.
Did that feel earned?
Nothing with Superman feels earned in this.
That's okay. Good point.
He's not even in the movie. He's not even a character.
Does he have any lines?
Outside of the farm scene? Not really. He gets the axe to the shoulder and he's like, not impressed. It's like, okay, cool. Darkseid took the axe to the shoulder and like killed him, so I get it. Very subtle. Like,
yeah,
that's his only line when he's with the League.
So,
and then Cyborg goes, Superman, and he's like, I got you.
So in the theatrical version, that was my favorite scene just because of Superman is what I had been wanting.
Yeah.
And it just like alleviated everything. It's like, I forgive everything in this movie because you did this. Yes, I got a Superman that's just wailing on Steppenwolf, which I'm fine with. I'm fine with him going to town.
And he smiles in this, kind of.
Kind of.
But yeah, I wish Superman could have been more vocal.
For Zack Snyder to hype up his trilogy / 5-part series as a Superman story, he doesn't really do much with Superman after Man of Steel.
Yeah.
And I just find that kind of interesting. What was his real plan?
I don't understand his obsession with making Superman bad. I don't.
Yeah, it's weird.
To me, this is obviously very personal opinion. Somebody who would want a Superman movie wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
Man, I love Superman. Make him the bad guy.
Well, here, Luke, let's, since we're talking about
the end or a new beginning.
Kind of.
Shout out to Brett, by the way. These title cards and everything they're awesome. They look great. Great work.
Thank you. Appreciate it. It's a fun little thing I just threw together.
Yeah, it looks awesome.
We'll see if it, maybe not the title cards, but we'll see what more fun things
people
we
just
can
listening
do.
here going, what?
There's a whole show I produce.
Yeah, if you are listening on your podcast app, be sure to kind of tune into the YouTube this week and check out some of these title cards that Brett's made. They're pretty sweet.
Thank you.
They'll remind you of a certain movie.
Oh.
Or you watched 4 years ago.
So yeah, as we now come to the end of Zack Snyder's trilogy of movies for the DC universe, what are our thoughts? What are we like? Are we glad he's done? Are we hoping there's more? Or
I will preface this by saying I am glad he got to release his vision.
Yeah.
I'm happy for him. I'm happy for the people who fought for this thing for so long. Kudos to Zack for, doing this for no money and just saying, hey, this is what I wanted to do, and putting it out there, because That's pretty bold to do.
Yeah.
To say like, no, I made every decision in this. This is my movie.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm happy it's doing well critically. I'm happy it's doing well for audiences. And I'm just overall happy it came out. Happy we got to watch it.
Yeah.
I'm also kind of glad he's done. Not because I don't like everything he does, because some of the character choices he makes, I'm a fan of.
Mm-hmm.
I enjoy them. However, the pure divisiveness of his filmmaking, just his following, and kind of the toxicity that comes with it is kind of exhausting. And just everything that these last, just for his well-being, this has been a lot. He's gone through a lot with this movie, with the death of his daughter, all of these things. It's time for him to just move on and just close this chapter of his life. He's going to have some great memories and some really bad memories associated with it, but it's time to move on. Do your Army of the Dead thing. Do your Excalibur, King Arthur movie that you're working on. Just go continue your career.
Yeah.
And look back on this with happy memories, in my opinion, and just be done. Yeah. It's time for somebody else to take the reins and move this thing in a different direction.
I sure hope this gives him closure.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
To this whole... Yeah, the last 5 years, really. I know it's
back to
I think what's interesting is that he wasn't a very well known filmmaker when they handed him this. He had done 300, and then they were like, "What do you want to do?" And he said, "Oh, I would love to do Watchmen." And so they did Watchmen, and they're like, "Oh, cool. What else do you want to do? You want to do Superman?"
I want to do an Owl movie. I want to do Sucker Punch.
Dude, I read the Guardians of Ga'Hoole books when I was a kid, and I had never watched that movie.
I would skip it.
Yeah, it wasn't great. But,
slow motion.
Yeah. But what I'll say is I think that this has probably been a really
comment in a bit.
I would hope that it's, through the highs and the lows, he's at least learned from it. And I do think he stands apart as a talented and unique filmmaker.
Mm-hmm.
I often on this podcast will say that I think he's probably a better cinematographer than he is a director, but I'll still show up for his movies because they're at least visually interesting.
Stylistically, he makes some really cool choices.
He is a really talented guy. But I would agree. I think I'm ready to see new things in the DC universe. The last couple years have been really fun to see the silliness of Aquaman. Just kind of bombastic, fun,
big dude. Kind of
right?
Feels like a Mack truck entering a room. Yeah.
Giant sea monster battles. I'm here for it.
You've got the silliness of Shazam. You've got and just general joy that's in Shazam.
You have the love and compassion of the Wonder Woman movies.
And the just kind of goofballness of Harley Quinn, while still being pretty visceral and violent. Like, I am ready to see someone else try I'm really excited for Matt Reeves' Batman.
Yeah.
And I would be okay seeing more DC properties from Zack, but I don't necessarily want him in charge of the entire vision going forward. I think if he were to have the opportunity to do a Batfleck film with Ben Affleck, I'd be very excited to see that.
If he collaborates.
Yeah, that's the other thing. Like, this kind of a film, Justice League, the Zack Snyder version, is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. I don't think he'll ever get this kind of freedom again.
No. No.
And I hope he realizes that.
No. And that's not like an indictment on the film at all.
No.
That's not real. This is not a real scenario.
Yeah. There's so many things that had to line up to make the Snyder Cut happen. So.
Yep. I agree with both of you. I think it's really cool he could do this, but it's really the toxicity around it is the most exhausting
thing, man.
In the world of film, anyway.
Yeah.
It's like every day see this battle going on between people that hate it and love it.
Yeah, and it's not over, and it's
Yeah.
not going to be over for a long time, and
Yep.
people are going to be harassing Warner Brothers execs for the next 10 years.
Yep.
For this.
I guess that kind of goes into our last news story.
Yeah.
Ann Sarnoff had an interview with Variety, and she's the CEO of Warner Media. And they asked her about the Snyder Cut. Other things. And this is what she said. I appreciate that they love Zack's work, and we are very thankful for his many contributions to DC. We're just so happy that he could bring his cut of the Justice League to life, because that wasn't in the plan. An ad popped up until about a year ago. With that comes the completion of his trilogy. We're very happy we've done this, but we're very excited about the plans we have for all the multi-dimensional DC characters that are being developed right now.
Yeah.
Multi-dimensional, baby.
So they have said, we're done with Zack.
Mm-hmm.
However, never say never.
Never say never.
The Snyder Cut was never supposed to happen.
Yeah.
And I honestly wouldn't put it past him to just be like, maybe in a couple years, give him a TV show to do the entire arc he had over 8 episodes. I think I think Snyder would be so much better at TV. He makes his movies so long. He's obviously interested in long form storytelling.
Yeah.
He just always does it in a movie.
He should write a video game.
Probably
knock it out of the park.
do
Did you
pretty
think
good
of the
at that.
cutscenes in that?
Oh,
Crazy.
be awesome.
The other part that they were asked was about the Ayer cut.
Oh, no.
And they were asked, are you developing the Ayer cut? She said, we won't be developing David Ayer's cut. Straight out, no. To that, I just say, thank you.
Yeah.
I know lots of people are interested in that. I am not. And I think it sets a good standard of, we're not going to do this for every dang superhero movie that comes out.
And I think this says a lot more about Zack the human as well.
Yeah.
I think it's pretty widely
Zack the
known.
human.
Yeah,
Sorry.
it's pretty widely known that Zack Snyder is a good person.
As opposed to Zack the cyborg, etc.
Yeah,
True.
Or Zack the aliens out there.
Snyder's pretty popular amongst his colleagues.
Yes.
Even just seeing, like, one of the coolest things about this whole release was the outpouring of support from other directors on Twitter the day it released. I just thought that was so cool.
Yeah.
Like, Matt Reeves had a nice tweet to him.
Russo brothers.
The Russo brothers were hyped. It was just so awesome to see that. And I was like, man, it's weird, but that's the kind of unity you like to see. It makes you feel good. So.
Well, even there was an article that came out, I don't know, a couple months ago, I think, where they were interviewing him about, what had happened. And it just goes to show you that, like, he is very willing to work with studios.
Mm-hmm.
They brought in from day one. He had a lot of oversight on this because of the critical response to Batman v Superman that wasn't positive, and so he essentially had babysitters, and he was like, "Oh, okay." And then they're like, "Oh, we're gonna bring in Joss, and he's gonna like rewrite some like little things here and there," and he's like, "Oh, okay,
Cool, yeah.
yeah, cool."
He's always willing to listen to ideas.
And I wonder if that's made him more cynical towards collaboration. I don't know that for a fact. I hope not.
I hope not.
But I think you're right. It goes to show you he's a good person to work with, a good collaborator.
He cares about the people he puts in his movies.
And that I think you're right, Tyler. I think that's why he got this, and why someone like David Ayer won't.
Yeah. Plus, we all know what David Ayer is going to write. Southside LA gangster movie. No matter what skin you put it in, that's what you're going to get.
Yeah. And just to be clear, I'm not saying that David Ayer is a complete...
Yeah, I'm not saying he's a bad person.
Terrible person. I'm just saying the interaction that I've seen with him publicly has not been as cordial.
Yeah, he was off to a bad start after he went to the screening and screamed F Marvel into a microphone. That was when Warner Brothers was probably like, "Yee. Whoa.
Calm down, David.
Your movie's not even out yet, bro."
There was one more quote. They were kind of asked about the future of the other movies that were coming out. And Sarnoff said, "We're always going to listen to our fans, but we are in service of the broadest fan base, and we owe them an integrated, holistic strategy. We are the shepherds of the franchise, and hopefully when the fans see what we've got in store, they'll know that DC is in good hands across many different platforms with many different creators. We want different voices in the mix. For certain fans that want singular voices, they may be disappointed, but we would ask them to be patient and see what we've got in store, because perhaps the newer voices in the mix will have just as compelling stories to tell."
It's a very PR statement, but yes. Cool.
I mean, it all is.
Yeah.
Except for we won't be developing David Ayer's cut.
Yeah.
I do like that they're going for more diverse storytelling moving forward. Like even with the Blue Beetle movie.
Yeah.
You know, Zatanna.
I'm excited for that. Zatanna.
Ta-Nehisi Coates writing a Superman movie.
Yep.
Like they're very much.
I'm so
going
excited for all the things they have planned.
Yeah.
Yep.
And what I really appreciate too is 7 years ago they announced 27 movies. We've got like maybe 5.
Yeah.
Now. Like they've really backed up and they're like, look, we're not going to put out as much as we really want to, but what we're going to put out is going to be stuff we care about, stuff we're proud of.
Yes.
And that's the direction they need to move in. I think that's where things begin to take off. And I think the DC properties are headed in the right direction right now.
I agree. I'm very excited for the future of DC.
Yeah, I think it's going to be good.
And I'm very grateful for what Snyder gave us along the way. So, thanks, Zach.
No.